Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is ePhoenix, and this video is about the state of the union of the industry of video games from a gamer's perspective. Not from a business perspective, say, or anything of that nature, but just from a gamer's perspective, and obviously my personal perspective on that. So, anyway, let's get right into this thing. What do I think about the overall game industry? I think it's doing great. The video game industry has been growing very, very fast for over the last 30 years. It's actually never taken a dip. It's one of the most steadily growing industries in the United States, and it has been keep growing no matter whether it's a recession, whether it's a booming economy or whatnot. It has no difference, and so I think that's really good. Obviously, it speaks to the health of the industry that it is so successful, that it has become reaching out to people. It's in a lot of ways the demographic of who play video games. The demographic of who plays video games is a lot different than it ever was in history before, obviously, because the average age of gamers I think is around 28. I think almost half of gamers are women, which people are probably shocked of from, like, say, a Call of Duty community. It's just the most of the women are playing like World of Warcraft or something along those lines, or there's a lot of women that play Left 4 Dead. And so, and especially with the fitness things and like that, a lot of you get kind of like the soccer mom things where they are, you see them playing, fitness games and things like that, which kind of leads me to my next topic. Besides that, the demographic has changed in a very good way. I think it's a very positive thing that you get both men and women more equally represented in the industry as a whole. The more diverse an industry gets, the more diverse a populace gets in any way, in my mind, is a very, very, exceptionally, very, very good thing. And yeah, so anyway, but what I was getting into next was the fitness. I really like how video games are moving on to like a fitness oriented, I don't know, industry. It's not obviously everything. You're still going to get the games that sell the most aren't, Wii Fitness or Zumba Fitness. It's going to be, Call of Duty and things like that. I just think it's a very good thing that you're incorporating some type of physical fitness in it. Because, obviously as Americans, we're all obese, fat bastards. But, it's not true. I'm probably average as far as weight. I'm not overweight, I'm not underweight, I'm just normal. But a lot of people, perceive the industry as being kind of like for 15-year-old kids that eat too much, that are 50 pounds overweight, that it leads to obesity and that it's not very good for you and they should be out playing basketball and things like that, which I love playing basketball, but I just played around with golf. So, I like being active too outside of video games, but I think it's nice to incorporate an exercise element into video games. I think anything that increases the general health of a populace is very good. And another thing, it does incorporate more of a demographic into, like I was stating earlier. You're going to see more soccer moms, or maybe, 18-year-old girls that's like, hey, I like playing video games with my boyfriend when he forces me to, kind of. But then, like, hey, I can, maybe force him to play Zumba Fitness and do some, dance thing or whatever. And so I just think, yeah, it's really good because I think it's going to expand the demographic, and I think it reaches out to more people, and it's going to help the industry overall. Along that line, a lot of the fitness stuff stems from the Wii motion controls, the PlayStation Move or whatever it's called, and Kinect. And I think those are really great things for the industry. Like, again, I think it reaches out to new people and new things as far as a demographic sense. But, I just think it's one of the biggest steps we've seen in video games in a really long time. For a very long time, the only real changes you got better graphics, and then you got maybe a different controller. But that was really about it with each new generation. It was basically just more graphics. The only other big change I can think of in the last probably decade or so, other than like a graphical improvement on video games, just the actual ability to do more as with the game itself, is that it's, another thing I can think of is, online play, Xbox Live, PSN, things like that. So I think it's a really great thing to see the industry moving in a new area and excelling in a new area and doing very well with it. So this is an exciting thing to see. Like, well, what are they going to come up with next? What are they going to do next? Are they going to get a Kinect game that's really worth playing? Not that none of the Kinect games are worth playing, but they're all kind of like, I don't know, like they're just not. it's not like you're gonna spend like hours and hours with a Kinect controller playing Call of Duty because it would just never work. It would suck. But I think it's kind of exciting to see where that goes. Where that takes us as an industry. Especially from a gamer standpoint. It's kind of interesting. Like maybe there's actually gonna be a game that I'm gonna want to play. Maybe it'll be really fun to box with my girlfriend and like have a legit boxing game that responds well enough that I don't know. It's still fun for a hardcore gamer. That it's not unbelievably frustrating. That it's not basically a game for novice game players. People that never play slash young kids that don't want or need, however you want to call it, a more refined, heightened control system. That's why the PlayStation Move. For Killzone, they could have that little gun thing in there all they want, but it's never going to work nearly as well as just having a controller. That's just the way it works. I mean, that's the way it works right now because the technology's not there. But maybe one day it will be, and it'll be really exciting. So it's kind of exciting to see where that leads next. It's just nice to see a move forward beyond just better graphics. One thing though, I think that I'm kind of waiting for what's the consoles. Because these consoles are still making a lot of money, but I'm kind of curious, when's going to be on Xbox 720 or PlayStation 4 or whatever. It doesn't matter, so that they can, move forward. Because these have been out for 5 or 6 years now. A lot of them, they've been out for quite a while, and so it's getting to the point where the hardware, it's kind of limited. With the Xbox, if I want, one of the reasons the Call of Duty maps are so small and that the most people you can get in a game is like 16 or 18 or whatever it is. A lot of the reason is because the hardware is not good enough to like have big maps and more people. You have to have small maps, and so that's kind of a problem. I mean, it's not a problem, but it's just one of the side effects of having hardware that's not been updated. Because and so I think in that way I'm kind of waiting to see when the next game system comes out. When we take a step forward in that direction. Because I think that's really important as far as, just finding something new. You always got to be in any industry, or really in life in general, that you should always be wanting to progress, to move forward. And I think it's time that we take the leap into a new system for both the PlayStation and the Xbox. And well, the Nintendo I don't care about really, but Nintendo's always, in my opinion, been a little bit of a softcore. Gamers, the kind of weekend warrior type gamers type thing. So I don't really care that much about the Nintendo Wii and all that crap. But anyway, the last thing I wanted to talk about, I know this video is getting a little long, but the last thing I wanted to talk about is how a lot of the games nowadays are into series. That's not a horrible thing. It's not a devastatingly grievous thing, but at the same time, it is a little frustrating when you don't see new games. And this is one of the reasons that, say, Black Ops and Halo Reach don't have the shelf life and aren't as popular as long as far as online and online play is because they are a series. And they've been, there was Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare 1, and World at War, and now there's Black Ops. Or, Halo, 3, and Halo ODST, and Halo Wars, and Halo Reach. And just Reach and Black Ops now is kind of like died a bit, and they aren't nearly as popular. Or we might buy them in the same quantities because there's still Halo and Call of Duty, but the games don't have a shelf life, and they're not as good at games when seen from a hindsight viewpoint. Even if they're an amazing game, and maybe they're the best game that they've made, it doesn't matter because it's the same thing, but 2.0. And so I kind of disappointed that we don't have more originality, more kind of things that reach for something new and something different instead of just going back to the same formula of Modern Warfare shooter that has tweaks in it. It's like new maps and a giant patch, or that's the new Halo. So I'm really hoping that we start getting some new games. And that's one of the reasons that I think a lot of people picked up the Homefront game is they got bored with Black Ops. Which, at this time for Modern Warfare 2, people were still, obsessed with it. They loved it, and same with Call of Duty 4. But already, we kind of people are buying Homefront in record numbers compared to what they projected. And a lot of the reason for it is because Black Ops has kind of died out for the community, and it's kind of considered like a boring game now. It's not as fun, it's not as exciting, and it's kind of lost its glimmer, its glow, because it is getting redundant. It's Modern Warfare 2, 2.0. And I think that's the same way with Reach. Reach seemed to die a month and a half after it came out, but and everyone's like, whatever. I mean, the hardcore, Reach players are still playing it, but a lot of people aren't. I haven't picked it up and played it in a long time, and I still haven't. So, anyway, that's just one of the things that I've been thinking about. That's one of the reasons I'm really excited for games like Brink. That's why Homefront, like I said, sold well. As far as multiplayer games, as far as single player games, they do still have a lot of the series like Uncharted 3 is coming out and Mass Effect 3 is coming out, and I love those games. They're great games, and I can't wait till they come out, and I'll definitely buy them and I'll play them. But I played Mass Effect 1 like 5 times through. I played Mass Effect 2 1.5 times through, and it just kind of illustrates that there's a kind of divide between like, well, if I've played 1 and I played 2, and it's just it's a newer story, but like exactly basically or very very similar thing, it kind of loses the newness and it doesn't hold onto your attention as much. Which is one of the reasons I'm really excited about LA Noire. I think that's going to be an amazing game, and I'm really, really excited because it's branching out and doing new things. It's kind of the same way that Heavy Rain was. They're both really, as far as like progression, they push the envelope more than anyone else has probably in the last couple of years as far as like story and as far as like just doing new things with video games that haven't been done before. Even Alan Wake was like that as well. But anyway, guys, this is ePhoenixN signing out. So, that is the state of the union of video games from a gamer's perspective. Alright, guys, peace out. If you could do me a favor, rate it, like it, thumbs it up. If you guys want to favorite it. If you don't, if you want to post a comment, I'd be really appreciative. Alright, see you guys. Peace out.